You're standing in line at a fast casual place, staring at the menu, doing that quiet calculation in your head about whether adding something extra is a good idea today. Not because you don't want it, you do, but because you're not sure the numbers allow it. You earn about $38,000 a year. That puts you ahead of a decent chunk of full-time workers. Still, that small add-on feels like a decision that needs justification. Now imagine someone else, same age, same number of hours in a day, who saw a cheap flight last week, booked it instantly, and didn't think twice. No spreadsheet, no hesitation, no mental math. Just a decision, followed by action. Those two situations might sound similar on the surface, but they represent entirely different realities. And the difference between them isn't random luck or some extreme income gap. It comes down to a clear, measurable line, one that quietly determines how money behaves in your life. Before we get there, it helps to understand where people actually stand, because most people misjudge their position, and that misunderstanding leads to bad decisions. The typical household in the US earns around $83,000 combined. Not one person, everyone in that household. The average full-time individual sits closer to $62,000. So when a couple says they bring in six figures together, that's not wealth. That's the middle. Roughly 30% of households fall below about $56,000 combined, while what most would call the middle stretches from around $75,000 to $125,000. Only a small slice, about 1 in 10, crosses $250,000. But here's the part people overlook. A large share of households now make over $100,000, and that sounds comfortable until you factor in where they live, because the same salary can feel completely different depending on location. In some cities, $100,000 stretches far. In others, it shrinks dramatically. Two identical paychecks can fund completely different lifestyles. So the real question isn't what you earn on paper. It's when money stops controlling your choices and starts giving you options. Let's walk through this with someone concrete. Imagine a 29-year-old named Marcus working in operations for a regional company outside Atlanta. He earns $38,000 a year, which leaves him with roughly $2,375 each month after taxes. That's the full picture. Now watch where it goes. Rent takes the first cut, as it always does. A basic one-bedroom runs about $1,100. Utilities add another $175. Transportation isn't optional, so there's $350 for a used car and about $300 more for insurance and fuel. Food, kept modest, comes to around $370. Phone and internet are necessary, adding $120. Health coverage costs him $130. Student loans take another $300. That totals $2,845. But he only brings in $2,375. He's already short by $470, and that's before anything unexpected happens. This isn't about poor planning. The numbers simply don't align. Living like this doesn't feel like a budgeting problem. It feels like constantly adjusting in small, quiet ways. Putting items back at checkout, avoiding invitations, delaying maintenance, hoping nothing breaks. Every decision carries weight because there's no room for error, and the system around him isn't neutral. Fees, high-interest credit, and expensive alternatives target people in exactly this position. When you don't have cash, everything costs more. That's how this level operates. Now fast forward. Marcus gets promoted and earns $65,000. His take-home rises to about $4,252 a month. For the first time, the math works, but life adjusts too. Rent increases slightly to $1,350. His car is more reliable now, costing $400, with $330 for insurance and gas. Groceries improve a bit, now $430. Loans rise to $400. Everything else edges up. His expenses land around $3,610, leaving him with about $642. That sounds like breathing room, and it is, but it's fragile. Saving consistently means building a safety net slowly, and any unexpected cost, a repair, a bill, can undo months of progress. It feels like stability, but it's delicate. Another jump takes him to $100,000. Now he brings home roughly $6,158 each month. The increase sounds huge, but after taxes, the difference is closer to $2,000 more per month compared to before. His lifestyle improves again. Housing moves to around $1,800. Transportation, food, and daily life all scale up. After everything, he has about $1,500 left. This is where something important changes. For the first time, he can handle problems without panic. He can save faster, invest, and make decisions without constant pressure. The biggest shift isn't luxury, it's the absence of stress. But even here, there are limits. Maximizing retirement contributions alone could absorb most of that surplus, and in higher cost areas, the same income might not even reach this point. Now move further. At $150,000, Marcus takes home around $8,800 monthly. His costs rise again, but not enough to erase the gap. After expenses, he has over $3,000 left each month. This is where money starts behaving differently. Saving accelerates. Investing becomes consistent. Decisions shift from, "Can I afford this?" to, "Do I want this?" That difference changes everything. Because wealth doesn't begin with income alone. It begins with margin, the space between what comes in and what goes out. Without that space, nothing compounds. Research shows that lower income groups often save little or even go backward once debt is included. Real wealth building only begins once there's consistent surplus, and that typically starts somewhere around the low six figures, depending on costs. Think of it like this. At lower levels, money flows in and out quickly, leaving nothing behind. At higher levels, some of it stays long enough to grow. But here's the twist. Even at very high incomes, many people still feel stretched. Studies show that a surprising number of households earning hundreds of thousands still live paycheck to paycheck. Not because they have to, but because spending rises to match income. As income grows, what once felt like luxury becomes normal. Bigger homes, better cars, private schools, expensive habits. The baseline shifts upward, often faster than expected. So the number itself isn't the solution, the gap is. At higher incomes, Marcus could invest tens of thousands annually and build millions over time with simple, consistent strategies. But that only happens if he protects that gap instead of letting it disappear. And there's another layer. More income generally improves well-being, but it doesn't fix everything. Some challenges, health, relationships, mental strain, don't respond to a bigger paycheck. At the same time, financial stress has real consequences. Data shows that wealthier individuals tend to live significantly longer, not just better, highlighting how deeply money affects life beyond purchases. So what does all of this mean? There is a threshold where life shifts. Below it, money dictates your choices. Above it, you begin to regain control. But crossing that line isn't the finish, it's the starting point. What matters most is the structure you build. If your fixed costs stay below your income and the difference is invested consistently, wealth grows over time. If not, even high earnings can feel tight. Right now, there's one number that matters more than anything else. It's not your salary, it's not your title, it's the gap between what you earn and what you must spend. Look at your own situation. Add up everything that leaves your account regularly. Compare it to what comes in. That difference tells you exactly where you stand. If it's small or negative, the system is running you. If it's growing, you're starting to run the system. Real financial progress isn't about chasing a specific income. It's about creating and protecting that space where money can work for you. Everyone starts somewhere. The question is what you do with the gap you have and how you grow it from here.